everyone. Welcome to the show, My So-Called Fabulous. Welcome, everyone. And the power of connection is amazing in everyone's world, for sure. And I met this fabulous woman when I was at, if you follow me, the midlife conference for we're content creators, and it was so amazing because the women in this room, there was about 50 of us probably, and the connections that are made. And I've been searching for someone for you because you've been asking for you. Some of you've been asking for this for sure, but manners and etiquette. I grew up with Emily Post, just reading Emily Post. My mother had that book ready for me, and I absorbed it. I really did. But there's a few things that have been happening in our lives called phone and electronics and other things that kind of deter that. So everyone, meet this amazing woman that just flew into Fort Worth from North Carolina to see us. Meet everyone, Lisa Richey.
Thanks so much for having me.
Oh, it's so nice to see you. Thank you for coming this way.
It's my pleasure. I love being back in Texas. I love Texas.
Oh, good. I love hearing that. Texas loves hearing that. Well, Lisa, let's just dive in because you have Manners to Go and you have businessetiquettespeaker.com.
Yes.
That's your two websites.
Yes.
I mean, tell us this. Are manners and etiquette a thing of the past?
Absolutely not. This year, just for example, in the world of the business etiquette, my business has quadrupled. It's amazing what's happening this year. Companies are realizing that their teams need assistance and some guidance, and they are asking for this type of programming for basic things like social skills, eye contact, appropriate dress has been huge this year. And also knowing the generations in the workplace and what each one brings to the table, because every generation has a great deal to offer in business.
Really?
Yes.
Yes. Because you really do. I'm a chef by trade, and the number of people that just don't know how to cook, and it's not a dying art because obviously we live in a world of fabulous chefs and cuisine. But my fear was at one point, are we missing out on something with etiquette? Are we missing out with with manners? And what if you're on YouTube, please follow along YouTube because Lisa has set a place setting. And I look at this, it's beautiful. It gives me so much joy.
It does. I love this.
Love it.
Love it.
Love
yes.
it. And take a peek because she has set this table or this place setting. And I just wonder, do people really do this anymore?
I think so. I like it. And whether, I am all about, yes, the fork is on the left and the knives are on the right and the blade of the knife needs to face in toward the plate. If that doesn't suit you, then at least get together as a family and have a meal together.
Yes.
Yes. Invite a friend over for coffee and tea. Buy the cookies. The point is that I want to make is community and connection, especially if you have children. There's so much to learn besides the fork is on the left and your napkin goes in the lap. You don't want to make mealtime too much about rules. You want your children to hear your values and what's happening in your day. They learn to make eye contact. And what's really important? The conversation skills. Mm-hmm. Because they're not getting it because of the phone. And I'm concerned, and I hear parents are concerned because they're not learning how to build a relationship. Remember when we, had the friends and we would have play dates and we would play outside? That's not happening so much today. Mm-hmm. No. And I think it's one of the most important skills right now that you can show your child. And I said that when I was emailing you. It's remember our children are watching you. And as a parent, a mom or a dad, what about your relationships and your friendships? Are your children watching that? Are they experiencing the relationship that you have with a girlfriend?
Yes.
It's very important.
It's absolutely. I have to tell you, it's not funny, but it's funny. You met my daughter Kennedy when we were in Savannah, and when she was little, she was, oh my goodness, oh gosh, 5, 6 or 7, something. And she's like, there's nothing to do. There's nothing to do. It was summer. I said, go outside and play. She goes, I didn't do anything, Mom. She thought she was getting in trouble.
Yes.
Because I grew up on weekends for sure, leaving the house and coming back at night when my mom yelled it's dinner time. You remember those days?
I do.
That's just not the norm, in my opinion.
Right.
You know, of course, I don't have small children, but I thought, what have I done to this child? Right. But the fear, you know, I mean, so much fear. But isn't that crazy?
I know. And, you know, I can understand in some situations maybe playing outside is not the best idea. But even if it's setting up a play date to go in someone's basement and read or play or do something together, paint, something that is not device related, I think it's really important. Get away from the device.
That's true.
Yes, it's a very, very big part of their lives, and it's changed in many good ways, the way children learn and the information that they're able to take in. I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but why not add some more of creativity to their life?
Absolutely, and fuel the brain
in a different way.
Absolutely.
Yes.
You know, talking about that, here we're approaching the holidays. Lisa, what we want to talk about etiquette and manners during the holidays, but what are you seeing is the number one question when you go into corporates? Because you go into corporations or corporate and teach etiquette and manners, maybe business and you tell us, but what is the number one issue right now?
Right now, communication skills. Like I said, for children, we're seeing it with parents' comments and teachers. I also work with public, private, and charter schools. Conversation skills, the ability to engage is lost. And again, we have to give them guidance. And what's wonderful, usually when I go in to work with companies, it's an immediate difference. You know, this isn't something that you have to go off and study. We need to bring the awareness and the attention to how to do it and what it means and the big reason why. Right. The reason why it's important to have a conversation and have that level of comfort. So I would say communication skills and the ability to have a conversation.
Do you think that us as society has limited communication skills because we are texting and we're not actually picking up the phone?
Exactly. That is one reason. Also, you have to consider this group that's entering the workforce now. We like to call them Gen Z, but they're people. There are children. There are young women and men. You have to consider where they were, toward the end of their university life, and they were at home. They were robbed of being social during a very important part of their adult life.
Right.
And they were at home, and we were.
Yes.
We were at home.
We were at home.
And they studied. And the last 2 years, like I said, they were robbed of the last 2 years of a big social life and internships. Some did internships virtually, but it's not the same.
Not the same.
And now they're entering the workforce. And that's why, one of the reasons why they don't have the skills to build the relationship, especially if they're in a job that's client-facing.
Right. I use the generation of my daughter, which was in college during the pandemic. A lot of online school. And we've talked about that on the podcast before, but she would say something like, "Oh, I'm talking to this guy." And I'm like, "Well, what does that mean?" And she said, "Well, we're dating." And I'm like, "Well, but you haven't seen him." And she said, No.
Yeah.
The chemistry, the connection. I mean, immediately. I mean, when I met you, I immediately had the connection of camaraderie and networking, and just someone being in the room. That's why I like to do this podcast with people actually in this room.
Yes,
but just that lost art of actually having a real conversation and looking each other in the eye.
I know that is another problem that we're seeing, and no pun intended, but it's the lack of eye contact. I'm hearing that at a corporate level, It's just the simple of act of looking someone in the eye. You know, it shows that you're paying attention. It shows that you're confident and that you're interested.
Yeah.
A lot happens with eye contact. And here in the U.S., and there's some cultural differences, of course, but here in the U.S., it's expected.
Of course it is.
Yes.
I mean, of course it is. And again, working virtually, I am happy to hear and see that a couple of our friends that have recently had jobs, they're going to do a mix of in office and out, because the amount of depression too, you know?
You know, that's shocking, isn't it?
It is.
And that's why I'd like to see the big push of let's get out, do something creative, and build a community. I think so many of us are looking for community.
Absolutely.
And have been for some time, even before the pandemic, because we felt it with all the devices and sitting behind a computer. And now virtual training has become, or virtual meetings also, is just a way of the world.
It is. Mm-hmm. It is a way of the world.
And it's opened up so much.
Oh.
And it's been fabulous.
Yes.
Without question. Well, I think we need a balance.
We do need a balance. So when a company, let's say a company is listening to this podcast now, a corporation, what do you offer? What do you listen to their needs? What do you offer? I mean, you obviously have a curriculum.
I do. And I have 8 modules that I can deliver. And I work closely with an HR director, or vice president of sales, and we create a program and a presentation for their company. Some come to me and they're like, you know what, I don't really need communication skills, but boy, we need personal branding. And I want them to feel very comfortable to take and entertain a client. The business meal has always been very popular, and I think it always will be. But there's so much more to business etiquette than where your fork belongs. Yeah, so this year I would say personal branding, generations, professional presence, or an executive presence has also been very popular. You asked me earlier about what's really the pain point. Of course, it's conversation skills, but alongside of that is how to dress appropriately, because there's so much confusion. My goodness, there's so much confusion out there on work, what's appropriate to wear to the office.
And you offer that.
I do.
Wow.
Yes.
I mean, what is, what's what anymore?
What's what, and it really depends on the industry, and it depends on the client or the company that I'm dealing with. It varies. So everything is customized, and I do align it with their dress code policies. But there are certain things that I think we've gotten away from. Yes, I know that we have become more relaxed after what we've been dealing with, but I'm seeing up-leveling. People are beginning to up level. They're getting out of so much of the mindset of I just want to be comfortable to let me see what I can pull together here, because we're recognizing how we feel on the inside.
Mm-hmm. I grew up, I didn't grow up. I was, my first job out of TCU was teaching. I taught high school, and I had to wear hose.
Yes, remember, I don't even know if they sell them anymore. I don't think they do. Maybe tights, but
remember the egg?
I do remember.
Okay, now
Yes.
I'm not sure if anyone even knows. Andrew, you don't know what I'm talking about. My producer has no clue what I'm talking about.
Yes.
But I had to wear pantyhose and closed-toe pumps.
Absolutely.
Closed-toe shoes.
And not too long ago, I was working for a company in Dallas, based in Dallas, and it was required.
No.
Yes.
Lisa.
I'm telling the truth. It was required.
What kind of industry? I'm happy, but
yes, it was the golf and hospitality.
Okay. Wow. Okay, I'm having a little faith here.
Yes.
Because I was wondering, are dress codes a thing anymore?
Yes, absolutely. And some of them, companies, I will work with them on their dress codes. You can no longer say, be appropriate. You have to give details nowadays.
What is appropriate?
Exactly. The companies that don't give some type of guideline are the ones that are really scratching their head.
Right.
They've really realized they've got to give some direction on what is appropriate for that particular industry.
Sure.
Now, if you're working in New York City and you're working for Vogue, that's one thing. Even if you're working on the West Coast and you're a graphic design firm, that's a look. if you are working for an accounting firm, let's say downtown Philadelphia, that's a whole different story. Yes.
Wow.
So it does vary industry by industry.
Right. Right. Well, I think it's kind of unrealistic for teachers, because I was a teacher, to wear hose and heels working with children.
I know. I agree. My mother was a second grade teacher. I know. And my sister was a principal. So I know.
Yes.
Yes.
But I do see nothing against this, because teachers are underpaid and overworked. Don't get me wrong. But I was just so surprised when I went to a school recently, my granddaughter's school. I was like, whoa. I mean, it's really relaxed.
It's very relaxed. I'm with you, because my mother back in the day wore the wool pencil skirts and the little crew neck sweater and the heel shoes absolutely almost every day.
Right.
Yes, it's not that way anymore.
So it just depends. So one size does not fit all in your industry.
It really doesn't. It really varies industry by industry. But I do believe that it does matter, and it matters. It's about self-interest and about self-leadership, and it's how you feel on the inside, because we know you tell people how you want to be treated by the way you're dressed.
Oh, that's true.
It's very true.
Oh,
Yes.
my goodness. Say that again. Say it again. Please.
Yes. You tell people how you want to be treated by the way you're dressed.
That is powerful.
It is.
It really is powerful, because I can think of many situations, not just with employment, your career, but your personal life and your dating life. And I mean, that is amazing.
Yes.
I love that so
Yes,
much.
makes a difference.
Makes a huge difference. Okay, I said I just caught myself. I said at the beginning of the podcast, I mentioned a woman, Emily Post, and I bet you the majority of people that are my followers in our audience, well, not yours, but do they know who Emily Post is?
Mine certainly do, especially because on both Business Etiquette and Manners to Go, I license and certify women. And yes, they definitely know the book, the Emily Post book.
Right.
Yes.
Explain who Emily Post is.
She was the founder, really, who we looked to and set the standards for etiquette.
Right.
And I'm not sure the year right off the top of my head, but an amazing woman, and certainly a vision, and it's who we look to when we need advice or we need a little bit of a detail.
Yes.
We go to the Emily Post book.
Yes, and the Emily Post book was certainly not phones, but it could be phone etiquette, telephone etiquette, either with a party line like I grew up with.
Yes, remember my grandparents, had a party line. I remember that. Yes, and it certainly has changed. And you think back to children and conversation. The Wall Street Journal had an article about this. When we were growing up, we heard our mothers talk to they were talking to our aunts or their sister, and we heard those conversations. And you think about today, children are not hearing their moms talk to their sisters or talk to their mothers so much. Maybe more texting involved. Or their girlfriends. It's more texting is involved. Yes. So children are not hearing in conversation like they used to.
Oh, not at all. Not at all.
Y'all, let me interrupt the show for just a minute to introduce you to one of my new favorite products. Following my breast explant surgery, I discovered ASEA and have been using Renew 28 ever since. Seriously, I'm not sure how I ever lived without this product. The fabulous gel has helped fluff my breasts post-surgery, reduce the crepiness on my arms, tighten and smooth my face, and help heal a nasty scar on my daughter's foot. I'm serious, it's so fabulous. This will continue to be a staple in my home for sure. You will just love the youthful appearance it provides and the hydrated, smooth way your skin will feel. I love all the ASEA products I've tried, and I'm sure you will too. Learn more and shop at shopasea.com/Tiffany Blackmon. And again, that's shopasea.com/Tiffany Blackmon, or click the link in the show notes.
Okay, let's hit the topic, because we were all introduced to this thing called Zoom back in 2020, and FaceTime, of course. What is the etiquette? Give me give our followers and listeners etiquette on Zoom virtual meetings.
Virtual meetings. Be completely dressed. You never know when you're going to need to stand up. And I've seen this happen quite a bit. Something with technology will happen or something comes unplugged and you need to stand up. Make sure you're dressed head to toe. Mm-hmm. Very important. Your hair is done. Your background, especially if it's a business call. I'm telling you, this is amazing what I hear from HR. Not too long ago, I had someone from HR tell me that a new hire took a Zoom call from their bed.
What?
Yes. It's shocking what is going on.
Corporate world.
Yes. This was a financial company.
Oh, no.
Right. So you treat it as if you're sitting across. Right. Your hair's done. Your blouse, your shirts are ironed. Everything you're groomed. Yes. And you pay attention. You engage. You use the chat. Very important. Lighting is important, but that's okay. If for some reason you don't have the fancy lights, that's okay. Sit near a window. Natural light is our best friend anyway. But be aware of what's happening behind you. People can see it.
Oh, yeah.
The books that you have, the photographs that you have, people can see it.
Mm-hmm. My husband's retired in all the virtual meetings I used to be on, and he'd walk by. And I'm like, dude, you cannot walk by in your boxer shorts. But he didn't even understand what I was doing.
Yes.
He didn't even know that he knows now, people.
Yes. And of course, we've given a lot of grace, with the animals walking across and the animals and the children.
Right.
And that's fine. And I think that we needed to do that.
Right.
But things have changed now. And I think we need to recognize that in our Zoom meetings, in the way we dress. Mm-hmm. Things we are seeing a shift.
We are seeing a shift. Yes, absolutely. And also, people, there is a mute button on Zoom and FaceTime. Yeah, there is.
There is. You can use that.
You know what I do not care for is when you're on a Zoom, let's say there's three of us, everyone in this room's on a Zoom, and someone blacks out the screen and you just see their initials.
I know. That's part of it. And Zoom to me is an immersive experience. And turn on your camera. You know the meeting's going to happen. Prepare for it. Whether it's your meeting notes and just as important as preparing yourself for it.
Right.
Yes. But it's a part of being immersed in the meeting. It doesn't matter whether you are the presenter or the attendee. It's an immersive experience.
Exactly. Exactly.
It's not the same when people are not turning on the camera.
No, not at all. Okay. Holidays are here. Let's say we're taking our family to grandparents' house, an aunt or uncle's home. What advice can you give parents, children that can listen to this and understand, but more than anything, parents and couples too, going to someone's home that for a meal or a holiday or experience?
Yes, have some conversation topics top of mind. Stay away from politics. It's really on top of mind, and it's a time to share with your family. It's a time to spread joy. So I would say, be aware of what your conversation and how to handle certain things with your family, because if there's tension to begin with. So put that aside. It is the holidays. I would say teach your children how to greet a grandparent. It is another generation. And you know what? It means something to them. The eye contact, saying hello, it means something to them. And then I love, you can get your children involved in setting the table. Let them be a part of it.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we're going to talk about that in a minute. Yeah.
Yes, and, if you are a parent and you want to prepare them, teach them where the napkin belongs. Chew with your mouth closed. Make eye contact. Include everyone in conversation. And teach them how to use a fork and a knife. Children we are very busy, and a lot of times parents may not have time to prepare a meal in the evenings on a regular basis, and we might have sandwiches or apple slices, whatever that is. Make sure your children are eating foods that require a fork and a knife so they have the motor skills to hold a fork.
Wow. I mean, yes,
we're seeing some amazing things out there. Yes.
Right.
So they develop the motor skills. I tell parents with 2-year-olds, put a fork in their hand. Just whether they're holding it doesn't matter how they're holding it. Put a fork in their hand or a spoon in their hand.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
Let them get used to that.
Lisa, talk to us about the elephant in the room here. I mean, I just had to, when the camera switched to you, turn my phone off because we are dependent on our phone. Can you, I mean, you and I grew up without phones. We can't live without our phones any longer. It's just not an option at all. But I am guilty of going to dinner, not with a group necessarily, but my career is social media, and but it's there. And what are you telling people about phones and a dining experience?
And if you're sending a message, I get it because I'm in the same world.
Yes,
I
you are.
love to take photos of place settings, my food. I'm one of those. I may not necessarily share it on Instagram, but I love the memory of it, and I love a beautiful presentation. So I am guilty as well. But I think, putting it aside and enjoying the moment, and also when you have it out, it's such a distraction that we really don't even realize that we're doing it.
Yes.
You are putting the phone first and foremost. I remember years ago attending a presentation at Drexel, and it was 4 or 5 influencers or bloggers, and they all sat at the front of the room. They had a long table, and they all put their phone in front of them. And I have to tell you, I was a little bit taken aback, and I just thought that's really not the message that you want to send. You're here with a room full of people. I would say 75 to 100 people in the room. You're really saying the phone is more important. And oh my gosh, if a text comes through or a brand pitch comes through, wait a minute, I've got to take, So put it aside, be fully present with the people that you're with. I also try to put it aside today in the airport. Gone are the days where we just sit and observe, but it really is fun just to just sit and observe.
Right.
Also, I took an Uber to where I'm staying from the airport to where I'm staying in Dallas, and I thought, put it aside. It's been a year since I've been to Texas.
Oh, yes.
To take it in, see the Whataburger on the side of the road, and all the buildings that are new to me and everything, and just enjoy the beauty of it. Put the phone down.
Yeah.
Yes.
And it's
put the
tough.
phone. It is tough.
I am guilty. I know it. I go to dinner with my husband, and I'm just like answering Instagram. I'm just like,
we feel like we have to do it immediately. We do. We need to stop. We stop. Yes.
I don't disagree.
Yes.
It's hard to break it.
I have to tell you, this is a beautiful place setting, and there's not a place for the cell phone here.
No.
It doesn't go beside the bread plate. And it doesn't go over there on the side of the spoon either. And I'm not a germaphobe, but they're dirty. Ooh, they are dirty. You don't want them on the table, just like your handbag. You don't want to
put it on the table.
Don't put it on the table.
Okay, wait. People, do not put your handbag on the table or the bar at the restaurant.
Yes.
What?
It's dirty. And it's a distraction.
I don't even know what to say. I mean, I'm so mortified when I'm sitting there and my husband are in tight little quarters and there's a big bag.
Yes.
And I can't even see. I'm just mortified.
I know.
You say it. Say it for us because you're the expert.
Do not put your handbag on the table.
No.
And so many restaurants now have the nice hooks.
Yes, they do.
Yes, they
For a
do.
reason.
Yes. And I know you're going to get the question, well, where am I supposed to put it? You can put it beside you in your chair. Sometimes I put it behind me. I don't like to put my handbag on the floor.
I know.
I don't really like to do that, and I avoid that at all costs. But I do put it right behind my seat. And sometimes if there's an extra seat at the table, I'll put it in the extra seat.
Exactly. I will too. Oh, I'm not holding it for anyone.
But I will do not put it on the table.
Yes. No. That just makes me crazy. I'm glad you said that. Okay, what we have in front of us, because I do feel like people don't know how to set a table. And a friend of mine, she's in her late 70s, and she said it's true. People do not know how to set a table unless you were taught at home, which is back to your point of teach your children these things. My daughter knows how to set a table. Bet your kids do too. So show us what we have here.
Yes. This is this is an easy, formal setting. For the holidays, take a snap of this. This is how you're going to want to set your table. And I tell everyone, when you first sit down, think of BMW. Bread, meal, water. The bread plate's on the left. The meal is in the middle, of course, and you have the W stands for water. So BMW, once you sit down, you will never forget it. The bread plate stays on the upper left-hand side of your plate setting. You're not to move it down here. So it stays on the upper left. You have your forks, your salad fork and your entree fork. Let me talk to you a little bit about the napkin. This is Emily Post. I grew up in the South, and we always put the napkin underneath the fork for dinner for a casual setting, and one fork is just fine. Actually, it goes to the left, and it makes a lot of sense. It's less handling of the utensils. Yes. So the napkin goes on the left, and I know some etiquette experts will say, well, it really shouldn't go in the center of the plate either. And that's probably true, but I love a beautiful place setting. I actually think napkins set a beautiful tone and your style, and I don't have a problem if it's in the middle of the plate. Also, at networking events or weddings, when there are a lot of people around the table, they need the space. Sure. So a lot of times you will see the napkin in the center. Right. But it actually goes on the left-hand side. And, of course, when you sit down, it goes in your lap. You unfold it. The fold of the napkin goes toward your waist. It gives you the opportunity to use the corner of the napkin, and you need to use it every few bites just to make sure you don't have crumbs, and it goes back in your lap. When you excuse yourself during the meal, you just simply say, "Excuse me." You don't need to tell people where you're going. You come back and you put the napkin back in your lap. The napkin doesn't touch the table until the very end of the meal. Let's say you're at home, you're in your dining room, you've had coffee and dessert, and everyone is sitting around having great conversation. The napkin still stays in your lap. It's not until you pushing your chair back and leaving the table that it stays that it comes back on the table on the left-hand side. You don't refold it. You simply, here's how I would do it. So you just simply do this, and it goes on the left-hand side of the table.
On the table. And then, okay, when you do excuse yourself during the meal, where does the napkin go when you leave?
It goes in your chair.
In your chair.
It goes in
Not
your
on
chair.
the back of your chair?
Not on the back. It goes in your lap.
Okay.
Yes.
And
I'll put it here in my lap right now. Yes.
Okay.
It goes in your lap.
Okay, so but when you go to let's say you go to the powder room, you leave your napkin in the chair.
Yes.
In the chair. Okay, good.
Yes,
You heard it here on.
Yes.
Okay.
And so, of course, we have our plates in the middle. This is for the meal. The B for bread, M for meal, the meal, and the water glasses. And let me talk to you a little bit about the bread as well. There's some etiquette faux pas around bread. Like I said, the bread plate stays here. You break the bread over the bread plate, and it's one bite-sized piece at a time, and you butter one bite-sized piece of bread at a time. So you wouldn't want to break open the roll, butter the whole roll, and eat it like a sandwich. So that's a common etiquette faux pas.
Love that.
Yes.
Love that.
Yes, and this, of course, is called the bread and butter knife. And then another common etiquette faux pas is the knife. And you notice here we have the blade of the knife always faces in toward the plate. So with this place setting, we have the salad knife and we have our entree knife. And we start from the outside and move in. And then we have our water glass. And then the easiest way, I was certified by Dorothea Johnson, and I remember her telling us that the easiest way to remember is the champagne flute all the way down to the port. So tallest to smallest. Easiest way for you to remember tallest to smallest, yes, with the water glasses. And then at the top of the plate, we have the dessert setting. And you can, if you know you're having cake, it's perfectly fine for you just to set out the fork. And you can also, if you know that you are having mousse or ice cream, it's fine for you just to use the spoon as well. So that is how we set our dessert setting.
Yep. And then at the top, is it true that the bottom of the fork goes towards the forks on that side.
Yes.
And
Yes.
It comes over here. Right?
Yes. Yes.
Does that make sense?
It does make sense. And the easiest way to remember is the opposite. The tines of the fork go in the opposite direction of the fork. That's another little trick and way to remember it. And I see you have the salt and pepper shaker here. And when someone says, please pass the salt, they travel as a couple.
Oh.
Yes, they travel together, whether the person asks. And let's say you're at a wedding and there may be 2 or 3 sets of salt and pepper shakers. Whoever's closest to the salt and pepper shaker starts the passing. So let's say I'm closest, so I would start the passing. And also you pass the most direct route to the person who's asking. So let's say that someone is sitting here and this person over here asked for the salt. I would pass directly to her.
To your right.
To my right. Yes. And I know you're going to get this question. Let's visualize maybe Thanksgiving or Christmas and you're having a lovely meal in your home. I always get this question, which way do I pass the platters? And as the host, you pass the platters, you pass to your guests first, and you pass to the right. And the purpose of that is so that everyone gets the mashed potatoes and everyone gets the green beans.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And you're the host. So.
And you're host. And it comes back around. Hopefully there's some left for you.
Sometimes there's just not.
Sometimes there's not. Yes. And you don't say anything. You smile and think, my goodness, I was hoping for leftovers.
Yes. So my mom taught me, I love the BMW. I love that. Bread, meal, water.
You'll never forget.
Never forget that. So on the fork was left, L-E-F-T, 4 letters, and F-O-R-K.
Yes.
And then knife, K-N-I-F-E, to the
right. Yes.
Yeah,
that's another way.
It's another way.
There's another way. And some people teach their children D&D. And I've even seen adults do that underneath the table. And I'd rather that you remember BMW.
Yes, exactly. Because look, it's B and D. So bread. And then yes, but BMW, you don't have to do that at a table.
And you think about a beautiful BMW, and you got it made.
Hey, what could be worse, right?
Yes.
Oh my gosh, I just think this is so amazing. So your industry booming, which is such good news.
It is. It's been a wonderful year, and my licensees are experiencing the same thing with children and adults.
Yes. I love that.
It's really, we have to think of it. It is manners, but of course it really is about confidence.
Yes.
And, it's so wonderful to see a child light up when you mention eye contact to them. Like, oh, I know how to do that. That's what that's called. Yes. It's very rewarding.
Yeah. Lisa, you are amazing. I fell in love with you in Savannah, and we're fast friends forever. I know it.
Friends forever. Thank you so much for having me.
You are so welcome. Would you tell everyone listening how we can find you, your websites, your Instagram, so we can locate and, of course, follow along with you?
Oh, I would love that. Manners to Go, MANNERSTOGO.com. And you can find me also at businessetiquettespeaker.com. Wow. It's a mouthful. But Business Etiquette Speaker is what it is what it is.
And your Instagram is?
Manners to Go.
Manners to Go. Manners to Go. Lisa Richey from North Carolina that's back in Texas to see us today. Yes. Thank you so much. It just means so much that you came out and visited me and you connected with me. So thank you.
Thank you.
We're in this great group of network that sit and stare at each other's eyes.
I know.
It's a great day to be alive.
It is.
Everyone, thank you so much for listening. Follow along on YouTube. You can see this place setting, especially with the holidays coming up, and so much great information. I'm kind of just excited because dress codes and so much more. So everyone, follow along and follow Lisa. And you know what I say every single Tuesday, keep being fabulous.